Hi guys, my name is Alexandra Valentine and you're welcome to today's tutorial video. If this is your first time on this channel, please subscribe, give this video a huge thumbs up and also hit on the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. In today's video, we are going to be cutting this corset dress that you see right here. So let's just get into the cutting proper. So you can see I've gone ahead to draft out my basic bodice. This is the bust point, under bust, the waistline, the armhole, and also the shoulder slant. So what I want to do now is to draft out my darts, which is 3.5. My dart is 7 inches divided by 2, 3.5. I'm just putting 3.5 because I am drafting this on a paper, so there is no need adding that half an inch for stitching allowance. So I'm going to go ahead to rule a line on the point I have marked so that I'll be able to create my dart leg. So from the shoulder, I am coming down by 7 inches, which will give us our chest line. That's how deep I want it to be because I don't want my cleavage to be showing. So I'm just going to rule a line across that marked point. I'm also going to mark 3.5 inches on that chest line as well, then connect it to the continuous line. So from the under bust, I am going to, on the dart leg, from the under bust on the dart leg, I am going to go in and out by 1 inch, and I'll do the same thing for the chest line as well, in and out by 1 inch on the dart leg. So from there, I am going to curve it to meet the bust point on the dart leg with my curve ruler. I'm also going to repeat this process on the other side as well with my curve ruler. You can see from the under bust, I'm curving it on all the way to the bust point with my curve ruler. So I'm doing the same thing for the other side as well. On the waistline, that's on the dart leg as well. We are going to go in and out by 1.5 inch and also do the same thing on the hip line. So we'll be able to connect a straight line to meet the under bust. So from the chest line now, I am going to go down by 1 inch and then I'll just mark it there. Then on that 1 inch point, I'll go in by 0.75 inch, and I'll also mark it. And I'll rule a straight line across like this. And I'll also rule a straight line from the 0.5 inch to meet the bust line, the bust point line, like that. So the next thing we want to do is to determine our curve all the way to the under bust. So you want to make sure that you use the curviest part of your curve ruler so that the bust will be able to sit properly into the cup. You don't want to use the slanted side or the slightly curved area. You want to use the deepest part of the curve because it's more curvier than the other side. Then you just connect it from that point, like that. So the next thing is to get the other side of the cup. So what I'm going to do is from this armhole, this space that is in here, I'm going to divide it into two. So the midpoint, I'm just going to mark it, and from that point I will use my curve ruler to make a curve to connect to the underbust as well. If you're doing this, you are also going to make sure that you're using the curviest part of your ruler. Then you just make a curve around it like this. So from here, that's the distance between the two curves. I'm going to make a curve. Now at this point you can make a slant curve to the top to meet the other curve that is there. Then for the other part of this cup, I am just going to make a curve from this point into the armhole like this. Just make it seamless. So I'm just going to make a curve into the armhole so that it will just seem continuous like this. So I have two pieces. You can use this to draft out a two-piece corset if you want, but what I'm making is a three-piece corset. So for the V neckline that we see in front, the V stopped at this cup area. So I'm just going to mark a straight line all the way to that point. So for the keyhole in front, from my chest line, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inch. Then I'll mark it there. So on that point, I'm going to mark my 3.5 inch because I want to extend the dart line so that I know that that is the midpoint for that particular keyhole. So I'm extending the dart line. Then from there, I am going to from this distance between the 2 points, I'm going to connect it to that other point, or that keyhole point. Yeah. So with a curve, with my curve ruler, I'm just doing this. I'm just going to connect it in a curve way. You can see what we'll have there. Then for the other side, I'm also going to connect it, but this time around, it is going to enter into the armhole as well. So this is what we have here. This part will be cut out, this part will be cut out. So the next thing to do is to impute our body measurement. So I just shifted it up so that we'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm just putting my waist measurement is 6.5, and I'm replacing that 2 inches that we took out. Then I'll put my 2 inches for stitching allowance, or for seam allowance. Yes, for seam allowance. Then for the hip line, I'm also going to impute my hip measurement, which is 9 inches. Don't forget your hip circumference divided by 4 plus 2 inches allowance. So I just added 4 inches straight up plus the 2 inches that I took out from that leg. So I just replaced it then plus my 2 inches for allowance. That's 4 inches. Then for the bust point, I've already marked that point when I was doing my drafting my armhole. So I'm just going to add the 2 inches for seam allowance. So right now I am going to connect these 3 points together from here then all the way to the hip line as well. I am also going ahead to roll a straight line on those points for the allowance too, so that we'll know where the allowance is stopping. So right now we want to determine the corset length. So I'm just going to come down from my waistline by 5.5 inches. Then I'll just mark it there. But this is not going to be continuous on the other side. That is on the side front. Because if this corset is just a straight corset, the person will not be able to sit down because of the bonnet. But um even from the picture you can see that it has a V shape, but I'm not going to do that V shape. I want a round shape there. So on the side here I'm coming down by 3.5 inches, and I'm going to roll a line also across like this. So for that 3.5 inches line, I'm extending it beyond the stitching allowance because it's this kind of shape I wanted to have. So I extended it by 1 inches. Then I had to measure my 2 inches allowance. So that is it there at this point that I'm marking now. So from that point, I'm going to make a curve to meet the corset line. So that's what we have here. So I'm going to connect from that 1 inch that I extended all the way to the waist. So I am going to cut through it like this. So just watch what I'm doing at this point. So right now I'm cutting out the yoke. You can see the line I am following. So please just do exactly what you see me doing and you'll be on the right track. So I have cut out the yoke and this is what we have of the yoke. So I'm just going to label this down and I keep it aside. Then I'll continue cutting. So at this point I'm cutting um I'm going to cut out this that leg on the both sides, and when I get to the underbust I will stop because I have not made this cup a three-piece corset yet. This is just a two-piece corset. So from the chest line from the chest line here, I am going to go down by 3 inches. So I'm just leveling it out so you know where the chest line is. So for the chest line there, I'm going to come down on this side by 3 inches. Then on the other side from the chest line, I'm coming down by 3 inches as well. So please just mark it on the both ends of the curve or of the cup. Then at the that leg, I'm coming down from the chest line by 2 inches. So you can see I have 3 points there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it in a curve like this. So I'm going to connect from that center to this side like this. Then I'm also going to connect the other part like this. Please be sure to make this as smooth as possible. Before cutting out the cups, I will go ahead to label out the cups so that I don't get confused. So this part I'm going to label it 1 and the direction of which I will stitch it. So I'm just indicating that with an arrow, and this part is going to be 3A and 3B, and the direction of which I will be stitching together. You can see it's also facing down. So I'm going to take out this part now that I'm shading and I'll cut it out. When you are done cutting it out, please make sure to label all your patterns. So what I'm going to do now is to label this part the center front and this part the side front. Then I'm going to complete cutting out the cups. So you'll be wondering, I said a three-piece cup, but this is divided into four already. So you'll see the trick we'll do at the end of the day. Please stay tuned. Please guys, give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what we are doing today. So over to the cups, you can see that with the help of the arrow that I labeled earlier, I'm able to um, arrange or rearrange this cup. So the two pieces for the top, which I labeled 3A and 3B, I'm going to put it on a fresh pattern paper and trace it out, making sure that the two ends on the bottom are meeting. So I'm just going to trace this out so that it will come out as one piece. You can decide to just tape it down and cut it out, but because I ran short of tape, I'm just going to hold down and trace it out, then I'll cut it out. So this is what I have by the time I finish tracing it out. So I'm just going to relabel it 3 and then indicate the arrow as to which side I will stitch, and I will just cut it out. So at the end of the day, we'll have 3 pieces instead of 4 pieces. So these are the 3 pieces. So I'm just going to keep that aside, and then we'll work on the yoke. So this is the yoke. We'll do what is called a yoke tightening because we want to avoid having any gaping in front, having any excess on the yoke area. So at the shoulder now, I'm going to divide what I have of the shoulder by 2. So this is what I have of the shoulders. I'm just going to fold my tape in 2 like this, and I'll mark the midpoint. So from that point now, I am going to rule a straight line to meet the chest area. Then on the chest area, or on the keyhole area, I am going to go in and out by half an inch. Then I'll connect it to the shoulder point like this. Then I'll also do the same thing for the other side of the half an inch. So we have something like this. I more like it that on the shoulder area. So I'm just going to fold this in a way that it's only going to be folded. I'm folding this in a way that it's going to close up the dart as seen, without reducing the shoulder area. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just closing up that we've created, and this is what we have of the yoke. So this is what we call the yoke tightening. You can also tape this down with your masking tape or whatever tape you have. So these are the pieces I have for this corset for the front part. Not to waste much time, I've already gone ahead to draft out my horizontal and vertical lines for the back parts. I've done my shoulder slant and my armhole, and you can see I'm just demonstrating or showing you guys the line that I have ruled. So from there, I'm going to insert my body measurement or mark out my round body measurement. So on the waistline, I'm like marking my waist measurement divided by 4. Then on the bust line, I'm also inserting the bust measurement divided by 4. Whatever I have, I put there. On the hip line, I'm going to do the same thing. So the reason why I am marking my hip line is just so I get my exact waist measurements for my upper hip, or my exact measurements for my upper hip. So right now I'm going to connect those 3 points I have marked earlier together. Then I'm adding 2 inches for stitching allowance on the sides that I have ruled already. I'll go ahead and also connect them as well. So on the side of the waistline, I'm coming down by 3.5, but I'm supposed to come down by 3.5. I'm going to correct myself later. Then I'm going to rule a straight line just across the stitching allowance. Then I've already gone down by 6 inches from the waist downward. So I'm going to rule a straight line. So this new line now is the corset length. So you can see the reason why I had to insert my hip line so that I'll get the exact measurement for my upper hip. I hope I'm making sense. So I am just correcting myself here. I'm coming down by 3.5 because I came down by 3 inches. So I'm going to cancel the first line. So I'm also going to rule that line just on the 2 inches stitching allowance. So the next thing to do now is to extend that line by 1 inch outside of the original line we have marked. So I've extended it, then I'm going to connect it from that point all the way to the waistline with my curve ruler, because I wanted to have this very curvy shape at that area. So from that point I'm going to remark my 2 inches allowance, stitching allowance. Then from there I'll connect a curve in to meet the corset line. So this is what I did here. So for the neckline, I am coming down by 1.5 inches for the width. Then I am going to rule a straight line to connect 1.5 inches for the depth. Then I'll rule a straight line to connect the neckline. So for the width is 3 inches, while for the depth is just 1.5 inches. So I have done my neckline curve. Then from the waist, to avoid gaping at the waist area at the back, I'm going up and down by 1 inch. This is because the front waistline and the back waistline, that's the vertical measurements, they vary, they are different. So mine is different with 2 inches. That is my front waistline is 17 inches, then my back waistline is 15 inches. You can see that it's a difference of 2 inches. That's why I went up by 1.5. So I'm just going to connect that, sorry, 1 inches. I'm going to connect that 1 inch to meet the 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 line on the stitching part. Does that make sense? Then I'm going to cover it up, more like creating a dart. So I'm going to cover that 2 inches that I marked. I'm going to cover it up, but before then I'm just trying to cut out what I have from the corset dress. I'm going to cut it out. So just do what you see me doing, and I'll show you this dress is going to come out just as you've seen. So I'm putting a gum on this side because I want to cover up this part. Then I'll just cover it like this, but I'll make sure that the sides are not affected, neither are the front affected. You can see I've covered that up. Then I'll continue cutting from my side. Please, you want to cover up your waist area or your waist reduction area at the back first before you go ahead and take out the lacing space. The thing with voiceovers is that you don't know what will happen next. So from the neckline, I'm coming down by just 1 inch, and on the bust area, because I want this keyhole at the back to be very deep, I'm going in by just 3.5. Then at the corset length, I'm marking 1.5 there because I want the bag to have this V shape effect after I finish lacing it up. Then I'm just going to connect those 2 points together in a straight line. So I readjusted, like had to make this line to be very visible. So then I'm just going ahead to connect the 2 points together. So for the keyhole, remember we came down from the neckline by 1 inch. So I'm just going to use the deepest part of my curve ruler like this, then connect it to the bust point like this for my keyhole. So this is what I have at the end of the day. So this part now will be cut out, and there will be an opening at the top and a lacing at the bottom. So I'm just going to cut everything out now, and I will show you guys the end result. I'll go ahead also to cut out the yoke. I want this to have a yoke, so I'm cutting out through all the way to the armhole. Then I'll cut out the shoulder slant and the neck area as well. it for the bodice part, I just literally divided this into two, no specific measurements, because I wanted to have a center front and a side, sorry, yeah, a center back and a side back. So I'm also going to label it. Please make sure that when you're dividing this, you are excluding the 2 inches stitching allowance. So this is what I have of the back piece. They are just three pieces: the center back, the side back, and then the yoke. So this is what I have at the end of the day. So this is it about the cutting of a three-piece corset. In our next tutorial, we are going to go about the sewing process of the video. Please, if you end up enjoying this video, give it a huge thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel so that you become a member of this channel, and also hit on the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.